It looks like this pickup truck just came barreling off of the road here, tore through this fence, busted down the shed, and then continued through the yard, maybe 10 feet from the curb, and the fire is now 20 feet from me. So it just goes to show how quickly this is moving, even though the winds have died down. The 4th of July, that's a welcome change from today's afternoon showers. The shooter and the security guard were on either sides of this fence, but only a few feet were between them. And apparently when the shooter pulled the trigger, he then jumped right over the fence and tried to give the security guard CPR. An empty parking lot wasn't enough to convince people that the Department of Licensing was closed today. A lot of them had to walk up here themselves and tug on the door, and even then they couldn't believe it. We've just learned that Scott Creech died from one gunshot wound to his chest. It all happened right here in the parking lot of his very own business, the plant farm. Now, few details have been released from police about what happened, and it is clear that the family is irate about that.
You guys need to come out here with some answers when you got the facts.
Caught on tape by a KREM 2 news camera in the middle of the night. 2 of Scott Creech's family members, grief-stricken over his death, take their anger out on a Spokane County Sheriff's deputy.
You can't even tell the woman her husband's dead. You don't call any emergency medical care for the man. So he lays here in the parking lot while he's dying. That's ridiculous.
Within the last hour, a Spokane Valley police officer responding to a request for increased police presence showed up at the plant farm. It was 11 o'clock at night, and the officer drove an unmarked vehicle.
11 o'clock, my father got out of his bed responding to what he thought was a burglar and took a gun with him, challenged that vehicle in his parking lot there in front of the plant farm. Subsequently, a deputy sheriff shot him and killed him.
You know, the deputy was in a business trying to keep the community safe and the homeowner, and he had a confrontation, and certainly it's too early to tell what exactly transpired between the 2 of them.
And you guys are sitting on your butts on the corner writing tickets for fun.
The family really took it out on this deputy. A lack of answers made the ordeal that much harder on them.
I tried to talk to your sergeant, and doggone it, they're too busy with their bureaucracies. Now they shoot him. That's ridiculous.
He shot him on his own property, defending his own property.
And yellow caution tape is flapping in the wind here at the scene. We're told that the family put that up to try and let customers know that their shop is closed for now and probably indefinitely. We don't know which Spokane Valley police officer pulled the trigger, and we don't know what in the confrontation led him to do so. We do know that that officer is on paid administrative leave at this time, which is standard in any shooting. It looks like this pickup truck just came barreling off of the road here, tore through this fence, busted down the shed, and then continued through the yard, leaving the kind of damage that looks like a tornado came through here.
It was an incredibly loud explosion. It moved us on the sofas.
Sandy Sanis ran outside of her house when she heard what she thought was a bomb go off. She says as the smoke cleared, it sure looked that way.
Kind of took us a second there to realize what had happened. And then we did hear moaning. There were 2 people that had been ejected that were in the yard.
Witnesses say a white truck was going upwards of 80 miles an hour when it blew through a stop sign at 16th and Progress, clipped a car, then sailed off of the road, destroying everything in its path. It ended up in this yard. Twin brothers Brian and Kenton Kovaric were ejected from the vehicle, both seriously hurt. Sanis tried to help them.
Never really seen something like that, and it's we just hope they're okay.
The pickup truck came to rest just 10 feet from the family's back porch. You can still see these huge ruts in the ground left behind by the tow truck as it tried to drag the vehicle out of here.
We gathered these so far, but they've been scattered around the yard.
Neither of the brothers admits to driving. Deputies say both of them were drinking. Today, beer cans still litter the yard. Sanis says it's dangerous to walk through her yard barefoot.
This kind of stuff, which looks like came maybe from the shed.
What concerns you the most? Is it the shotgun shells?
No, actually it's the nails from the fence that just seem to just shoot everywhere. I'm finding them all over here.
Sanis doesn't know what from her shed is salvageable. Right now, she's just thankful her family is all right.
Still kind of surreal to come back out at the light of day and see it all again.
Jeff King saw the shooting unfold before his eyes. He was so close to it, he was hit in the arm with gunshot shells.
I was freaking out because I just moved here and I don't want to cause any trouble here.
King and a group of tenants sat out behind the Pacific Plaza apartments when 26-year-old George Hayek, a Securitas security guard, rolled up the alley. King says racist remarks were made and an argument ensued.
Got out of his car and told the guy to shut his mouth.
The next few moments happened fast. King says Hayek went back to his car, grabbed a gun, and pointed it at one of the men in the group.
He had a gun in his hand, and he could have shot any one of us. There was 5 of us out there. He could have shot any one of us.
King says that's when another man felt threatened.
And so that's why he pulled out his gun and he shot the guy about 3 times.
King says that the shooter and the security guard were on either sides of this fence, but only a few feet were between them. And apparently when the shooter pulled the trigger, he then jumped right over the fence and tried to give the security guard CPR.
Because he is a registered nurse and he didn't want the guy to die, but he was just trying to protect us.
King says the shooter is a neighbor of his and lives just down the hall. Is there a gentleman who lives here that was taken into police custody? A woman came to the door but wouldn't answer any questions. She spoke only through the door crack. The shooter was taken into custody for questioning but has since been released.
It was like a reaction that he had. It wasn't intentional.
Police recovered both weapons. The gun that Hayek pulled from his security car was a BB gun, but police say it was a replica of a semi-automatic handgun. He did die here at the scene. Yeah, this is Jennifer's practicing field. She has worked at Subway for 10 years, and after all of that sandwich making, it lands her at #1 in the world.
How are you doing?
The sweet smell of success fills this Subway restaurant. It's home to the fastest hands in the business.
It's a very good feeling, exciting, very excited. Is the shredded cheese okay for you?
Jennifer Underwood beat out everyone in Spokane to compete with 144 sandwich artists from around the world at the Subjammers competition in Chicago. She slid into first place, taking over last year's champ by 0.2 of a second. It's been a few weeks since the competition, so we wanted to see if Jennifer's gotten a little rusty, so I brought my stopwatch along to time her and see just how fast she can make a sandwich right now. Ready, set, go. Jennifer slams the turkey, cheese, veggies, oil, salt, and pepper, wraps it all up, and is done.
What was it?
33 seconds. Well, that's before any penalties are assessed. We sat down with her as she checked her work.
I'm short 1 pickle, so I probably get docked on that. Cucumbers are good. There's 6 there. That's probably a 6 to 8 or 6 to 9 penalty sandwich.
That brings her total time to about 39 seconds, which still blows her old record of 45.3 seconds out of the water. Now she's a local celeb. So how does it feel to have your sandwich made by the fastest hands in the world?
It's great. She's been doing this for quite a few years, and every year she gets better and better and better.
We're just so proud of her, and you know, it's such an exciting time back there in Chicago when they announced that she won.
And did you want yours toasted?
Jennifer says she'll get plenty of practice at work over the next year to improve her score.
Yeah, I'm going to San Francisco next year to defend my title.
And the talk among the customers today has been who is the fastest sandwich eater in the world. Of course, that competition doesn't exist, but if it did, I would enter it.
Crim 2 News at 5 starts now.
It's going to heat up and dry out as we approach the 4th of July. That's a welcome change from today's afternoon showers. A man accused of trying to rob the downtown Spokane Macy's store will be a little sore this weekend. 39-year-old William Isaacs was hit by a car while trying to run from River Park Square security. Police say a security guard tried to stop him, but he didn't yield to a vehicle at Stevens and Riverside and got hit. He is expected to recover, but will face robbery charges. We have an update this evening on a Spokane murder investigation. Police found the vehicle today of a murdered 39-year-old man. Hikers found William Picard's body Wednesday morning underneath the Sunset Drive Bridge. So far, police haven't made any arrests. The husband of a missing Clarkston woman will not go to trial next week in North Idaho on gun charges. Instead, Charles Capone will have a plea hearing Tuesday afternoon in U.S. District Court. He faces 1 charge of felony gun possession. That could mean a 10-year jail sentence if convicted. The 48-year-old is also a person of interest in his wife's disappearance. Rachel Anderson went missing in April. Lab results are just starting to come back from her SUV, which was later found in Lewiston. A North Idaho woman charged with having sex with a 14 15-year-old will serve 2 years probation. It's part of a plea deal for Summer Hughes. The 29-year-old didn't have to admit to the crime as part of the deal. Police say Hughes was hired to babysit the victim back in 2007. A Spokane jury will hear testimony on Monday, July 12th for a 2008 double murder. Jury selection wrapped up today for the trial of Justin Crenshaw. He's already pleaded not guilty to 2 counts of first-degree murder. Crenshaw is accused of stabbing 18-year-old Sarah Clark and 20-year-old Tanner Pell to death with a sword. Investigators say Crenshaw then set the crime scene on fire. A Spokane woman was released from jail today after allegedly causing a bizarre accident that seriously injured a Spokane police officer. 52-year-old Susan Troyer is charged with felony hit and run. Police say that she crashed into a telephone pole, forcing a power line to come down and clothesline a motorcycle officer. His neck was caught in the lines, leaving marks behind. We got a hold of the charging documents, which reveal Susan Troyer may have taken Xanax before driving. Police say witnesses say that she appeared unbalanced and confused at the scene. One witness also says he heard her say, "I have to get out of here." He says that she attempted to grab her purse and leave the scene, but the witness blocked her from leaving. The documents also say Troyer claimed her brakes went out, causing that accident. And we have confirmed that Troyer is the wife of the police chief at Spokane International Airport. Pete Troyer is his name. He was in court today but declined an interview. A Lewiston worker died Wednesday when he fell into a large pulp vat. Police are still looking into John Bergman's death at the Clearwater Paper Company. Investigators say he fell onto a conveyor belt, and that belt then carried him into the pulp vat where he was burned. A manager freed Bergman and tried to revive him. Business is picking up this weekend in the Gulf Coast. The white sand beaches normally lure the most tourists from May through August. Now, thanks to hundreds of little leaguers, the coastal hotels are packed. The Global Baseball World Series is happening right now. That's got hotels booked with 250 teams who planned their trips months ago.
We had looked at the site before we came, and at that time they said the beaches were open.
I was hoping we could go in the ocean, but since the oil spill, we couldn't go in there.
The oil spill has businesses desperate for the influx of people. The tournament goes for 2 weeks. It is expected to bring 10,000 people to resort towns and pump millions of dollars into the economy. And there's a new Toyota recall tonight. The automaker is trying to fix the faulty engine in 270,000 vehicles. The government is also investigating possible steering problems in the Mazda 3. That's vehicles made from 2007 to 2009. The BMW Z4 is also having a similar problem. At this point, the Mazdas and the BMWs are not being recalled. And get your passport now before prices go up. Starting later this month, passports will cost $135. That's a $35 increase. The government says the increase covers operating costs of overseas agencies. And next at 5 o'clock, the economy is taking another hit tonight as U.S. Census jobs end, adding more people to the unemployment line. Plus, not everyone's putting down their cell phones as Washington state troopers write hundreds of tickets. And thousands are celebrating this weekend with a bang as fireworks mark America's independence. You're watching KREM 2 News at 5.